Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. I would like to thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is day 2 of the Missouri Star Quilt Company Countdown to Christmas box opening. Today we received the Snuggly Sweater Wall Hanger pattern. You will know yesterday we received the charm pack for the Snuggly sweater. So I've already pre-done a few things for us, so I'm going to show you what I did. First thing you have to do is pick your 9 fabrics from your charm pack. Then you pick your accent fabric, which I've picked mine here. And then you pick your background. I've already pre-cut everything, so it's ready to go. And the other things that you will have is your Snuggly sweater template. Now I have already put my fusible interfacing on the back of my squares, so I'm ready to go. I may speed you up through some of this, but the general gist of it is I'm going to show you how I do this. I'm going to open my pattern here, make sure I have my scissors close by. So to make the blocks, we're going to gather our squares that has the fusible interfacing on it. I've already done that. I've got my iron over here heating already. I've got my cut and press mat right here. So the next thing that we do, I'm going to lay this over here, is we are going to take our pen. I'm using a fusion pen, and we are going to trace around the sweater on our fusible interfacing. So I'm just going to go on and get started on that. I'm going to go ahead and trace all of them before I go and cut them out. So I will speed you guys up through this part so you don't have to watch me do every one of them. Well, you can watch it, but it's going to be in fast motion. Okay, now I have all of them drawn out. I'm going to cut them out. And I just have my little Bernina snippets here. I don't know what they're called. I call them snippets because they're not as big as scissors. So what the first thing I do is I go and cut under the arm first. Just because that's kind of a point. And I want to be able to get up under there good and not make that fabric fray by pulling it. Okay, so now we have all of our little sweaters. So the next thing we're going to do is iron them onto our background. So what we're going to have to do is I do have some that I tested to see which would be the easiest way. What I do is I fold my sweater in half so I can find the center. And then I take my fabric, my background, and I fold it in half. Kind of press it with my fingernails there. And then I fold it in half again. But what I do now is I take my friction pen and I just mark that center point of my fabric. And I marked the wrong side, but it's okay because I can see the center point and I'll mark it there. I have a white on white, so it's kind of difficult to see which side is the front and the back. So now what I'm going to do is peel the back off. Let me get my other, and I can still see the center line too. And I am using the underarms as my center spot, and I'm lining up from top to bottom on that center line. Now what I do is I take my iron, I press it for 6 seconds. No steam. I do need to say that. No steam, and for 6 seconds on a medium heat. I don't think yeah, it's kind of warm. I don't think it was warm enough yet, but I'm going to continue to do the rest of my sweaters on my background, and I'll just time lapse you so you can watch me do it if you want to. Once again, I'm just taking my sweater, I'm folding it in half. And with the paper on, it is actually a little stiff, so I'm going to fold this one in half the other way too, just to make sure I am on center. Because I know I did that on another one, and I noticed it was a little difficult just then to find the center because I did not fold that one in half both ways. So if you actually fold the fabric and the sweater in half both ways, you have your X mark right there, so it's real easy to find. Okay, so now we have our 9 blocks completed. Throw my papers away here. So let's see what our next step is. Okay, so now we have to use a blanket or small zigzag stitch to applique. So I've got to get my machine set up. I don't yet have it set up. I don't even know if I have the right needle on it right now. This is a new machine for me. I've never appliqued on it. So I will need to look up to make sure I have the correct settings and everything on the machine. So I'll bring you back as soon as I have it set up. So now I've changed this to a 20C. I have changed my stitch. I've had to do quite a few changes on my machine. I did go to quilt stitch. This is the Bernina B790 Pro. On the B790 Pro, you go to the quilt stitch, and I am using 1309. Now, this is the one I've just completed. There are some areas, I've never done the quilt stitch ever on any machine, so I'm learning how to do this. I have moved my needle position all the way over to the right, and what I'm going to do is the edge of this is going to be parallel to this edge of the foot. So I'm going to slide that down there, and with my needle all the way over to the right and this parallel, when I put my foot down and put my needle in, let me show you here. My needle is going to go right on the outside edge of that fabric. So when I start, and I will tell you that the only thing I have found is I have to just stop making stitches, and when I stop, I did change in my settings how I wanted my needle to do. I want my needle to stay down in the fabric, so I did do that in the settings. So that way when it stops, my foot comes up just a little bit, my needle stays down, so I can pivot the fabric just a little bit. So see, and anytime I take my foot up off that presser foot, it'll stop and do that. And I'm going to do that every few stitches. I'm having to do that because I want to stay on the edge of the fabric. And see, there's quite a few curves on this. Now, how I'm used to doing applique, I used to have a sewing machine that did embroidery on it also, and I was used to having to do the cutout method where you just did your stabilizer and put your fabric down and then let it do your stitch line, and then cut, do the cutaway, cut your fabric away from the stitch line. And I will put y'all in time lapse here, so you don't have to sit here and watch every single little stitch that I'm doing here. But you can get an idea of how I'm doing it. Now, if you have any questions about this machine, now I will say I am by no means a pro at this machine, but I am learning the machine, and if I can answer a question about it, I will be more than happy to. If I don't know the answer, I will see if I can find it, because it's probably something I need to know too. So I don't mind looking it up, and if that's the case, I may do a video for you and put it online if that, if you have a question. So I'm going to speed you up here so you don't have to watch everything. And I'll bring you back when I'm done. Okay, so our next step is we have our squares, and now I'm putting the sashing between our squares. And there's no rhyme or reason to the pieces I picked, the sashing. It's just fabric I had, and I think it is, I mean, it's not really Christmassy, but it doesn't have a busy pattern on it. It does have the polka dots. So I think this will be perfect for this. And even if it's not, it's okay. It's meant to be a fun wall hanger, nothing serious about it at all. And now I'm going to just add my last little sweater block here, or sweater square. to press it out. Okay, now that I have my rows pressed out, what I'm going to do is do some sashing that goes horizontally. So I should have 2 pieces of, okay, yeah, this will be my 2 pieces of sashing that goes between the first and second and the second and third row. So what I'm doing is just evening up that edge there. Okay, now here are my 9 squares, and our next step is to put our outer borders on. I'm going to put the side borders on first and then the top and bottom borders. I do have some selvage that I need to get off of these. So, okay, so one of these, just one of these strips is the sides and one is the top and bottom. So what I'm going to do, instead of worrying about the selvage, I am just going to, well, I'm going to do it on the left side here. I'm going to lay my border with the selvage overhanging and just get it over here to my 1/4 inch. And I am basing it off of, I'm looking at my bottom fabric. And making sure I'm even with the edge on that bottom fabric. And what I will do is just continue to, this is so I'm not measuring. I don't have to measure. All I have to do is sew. and when I get to the end I can cut off the overhang and use it on the other side. And what I do is when I hold it down, I don't move my finger. I know it's even up to this point right here. Okay, so now what I will do is I will take my rotary and a straight edge. And here I will cut the selvage off as well. Okay, so now I'm going to do it to the other side, and this time I have a part that doesn't have selvage, so I will just even up my edge right there, get that under got that needle down in it, so, or I have a few stitches. The needle may not be down in the fabric right then, but so I'm going to take my straight edge again and trim off the extra, and now I'm going to press it so I can put the top and bottom border on it. Is our top and bottom border. Fabric go for that. Okay, and this time I'm actually going to try cutting my selvage off and see if it's any easier that way to line up the top. I don't know if it's going to be, but we will see about that. So Okay, I'm going on and just putting my needle in it to see if I can get this evened up easier.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. A day or two ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lame, misfortune seemed his lot. He got into a drifted bank, and then we got upset. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse.
Okay, guys, I am done with our little snuggly wall hanger. Well, all but the backing and the quilting and binding, because I save all of my quilt tops and do that all at one time, because I actually quilt through my embroidery hoop. So this is my finished snuggly sweater wall hanger. So guys, if you're still here, and I will let you know, I did kind of do a time test or whatever. I checked all my recordings. I did have maybe an hour that I did not record because my camera died. All in all, it was probably about 4 hours to complete this whole thing, but that is not including the cutting of the fabrics, the pressing of the interfacing on the squares, because I already had that pre-done before I started the recording. So, but y'all, this is project number 1 of the Missouri Star Quilt Company's Jenny's Countdown to Christmas Advent Box. This is project 1 for day 2. So if you're still here, give me a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe and help my channel grow. Leave a comment. I do respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, have a very blessed day. Goodbye.